channel, everyone, and thank you for tuning in today. And yes, this has been my first video that I've uploaded the last 2 weeks, and I do apologize for that. It's been quite the busy 2 weeks, and I've been sick, and there's been a lot going on. But the reason for making this video today is to say that I'm not surprised. And this is related to Charlie Kirk. And I know it's been a couple weeks since the assassination, but this has allowed many of us, including myself, to really kind of think and meditate on his unfortunate death and assassination. And I titled this video, "Why I'm Not Surprised," because it's how I feel. I'm not surprised that he got assassinated. There's been a lot of, surprise, and kind of a lot of people have been stunned by this death. And quite honestly, in some regards, I don't understand the feelings of being surprised. Of course, at first, when it happens, you just can't fully grasp it. But after kind of meditating and thinking about this, I'm not surprised that this happened, because with our faith comes many trials and tribulations. If we think about all the apostles, and I actually wrote up and did some research on the death of all the apostles, and honestly current facts about Christians in the world, and how many of us face persecution, especially in countries like Nigeria and Saudi Arabia, and many countries, Middle East and Africa, where Christians are dying on the daily and being prosecuted for their faith. And now that we see it happen in America, it really has allowed many of us to open our eyes to this prosecution that we face because of our faith. So I'm going to give you the 12 apostles, and I'm going to list how each of them died. And this will really open your eyes to see the prosecution that many Christians go under. First, we have Simon Peter, crucified upside down at his own request. Now, of course, he didn't request to be crucified. He requested to be crucified upside down because he didn't think he should be crucified the same way as Jesus, because he knew that he was no Jesus, right? And that he was a mere human. But what the important part of it to take away is he was crucified too, just for his faith. He wasn't a criminal. He didn't do these heinous crimes. No, he just had faith. We have Andrew, died by crucifixion, but not in the shape of a cross, but instead in the shape of an X. Thomas, killed in India. And it said that he was executed, or he was killed and stabbed by spears. You have to kind of know that this is not like some of these apostles. The cause of death wasn't 100% like this is it. Right? What I'm saying is the most likely cause of death, and what many people agree with, and many historians and researchers have come to agree with. But what we could take away is that many of these apostles, right, they die in some horrifying ways. We have Matthew, the tax collector. Reportedly, he was killed in the city of Nadabah. And I'll put that city above me because I just butchered that pronunciation. And of course, we have the rest of the apostles. But for today's sake and for time's sake, I'm not going to list them out. I will share some resources. They can go and see the deaths of each apostle. But what can be taken away is all 12 apostles died for their faith, and this is something I've already said in this video. And these deaths weren't quote unquote easy or clean or painless death. These deaths are painful, slow, and torturous. And again, why are they getting killed? Simply because of their faith, and simply because of their love for Christ. Now, if we get into some modern statistics, some modern facts, I really hope this opens up your mind to the modern day. This is a research from the BBC. Estimated that 9,000 Christians are killed every year. 9,000. because of their faith. 90,000 Christians are killed because of their faith. How crazy is that? And 90% of these killings take place in Nigeria. And now these are just reported. The estimations. These numbers are most likely on the higher end. Much higher end, I would add. I mean, how insane is it? 1.34 million Christians face high levels of prosecution. And a lot of this is in the Middle East and Africa, but a lot of it is also in Europe and even in countries such as America. What are you seeing over time, this prosecution against Christians as the world divides itself. And we have 3,430 Christians in Christian properties, like churches, are attacked. And this has been rising. This has been on the rise. And of course, these figures are reported by the BBC and the Global Christian Relief to make sure I have all my evidence, all my research correct. So, what can we? Let's see. Yeah. So, what can we take away from these facts? What can we take away from these horrifying statistics? Well, that this should be no surprise. No surprise. Remember, guys, Jesus even said about the trials and tribulations that are to come with following in the faith. And Charlie, he followed in faith. He loved Christ. He spoke out. And look what happened to him. Right? Jesus foretold, right, of this prosecution that we are to face. This should come as no surprise. Sure, we can be stunned because so many of us think this can't happen in the modern world. That in this age, these killings and prosecutions are not happening. And that, these prosecutions and these killings are only from medieval times. No. Right? These prosecutions and killings are happening today. And they are on the rise in many areas. And that's the scary part. In a world such as today, where we think we're so advanced and we're so, we're better than we were, and that we're working towards a greater thing. No. Evilness has taken over the world in all aspects of it. And it's such a horrifying thing to see. And it's something we have to be aware of. It's truly horrifying to see this level of prosecution. And the beautiful thing is there was recently a memorial. There's been a lot of memorial services all across the nation, and it's been so amazing seeing this unification. Right, in this death of Charlie Kirk, the ironic thing is, this killer, he goes and he kills Charlie Kirk in an attempt to shut him up, if you will, to stop his teachings. And all he has done is made his teachings louder. It's unified many people. And it's been such a blessing to see how many, you go on social media or you talk to people, you see many people, so-called used to be atheists or, just didn't have faith. They open their Bible for the first time. They go to God for the first time. And so we can see how God uses this event for such a amazing moment of unity and love. And now, of course, you've got your bad apples. People who say these horrifying things, and the devil's trying real hard. He's trying real hard to break this unity, to break what Charlie did during his life. But the thing about it is that love will always conquer evil, and we see that with the death of the cross. We see that with the death of the cross. And every recently we saw this memorial. It was this big memorial. Trump, Vance was there. A lot of the officials, a lot of politicians, a lot of higher people, and you got Brandon Lake there, and of course you have hundreds of thousands of people there. And Charlie Kirk, she goes up on stage and she talks and she says amazing things. She is real smart. And she goes to say, I forgive. And that is such an amazing thing. And honestly, that's the best argument for Christianity you could ever have. You could argue Christianity on many things. You could argue science or nature. Even actually, C.S. Lewis, I was reading the book, The Problem of Pain, and honestly, he says nature is the worst argument to take for God. Now, of course, there's the evidence of God in nature and science in this world is just outstanding. Right? But if you really want to get down to it, right, the best argument for Christianity is our actions on this earth and what we do on this earth. Her act of saying, I forgive, defies so much about our current world, right? It goes against so much. How many times in movies and shows, whatever it is, we see people say the best revenge, right, is justice, or the best revenge, right, is to go eye for an eye, right, or to do something worse to the person. Instead, she goes up, and in such a moment, she forgives, just like our Savior did, right, and she's able to follow Christ in forgiveness, and it's such a beautiful thing. And that right there is the best argument for Christianity anyone can have. It's this action. It's just going against the world. It's going against the standards of the world and going and following Christ and forgiving. Man, I was watching The Wise Disciple, and he was making this video, and he was reacting to this video. It was in the UK, and this guy, or Australia, excuse me, and he goes and he was drunk and he killed about, what was it, 4 or 5 kids. He hit them. And this father, who was the father of about 4, I think the family, he had about like five kids. I think 3 or 4 of his kids were killed in that, all at the same time. So he loses 3 of his kids, right? He loses the majority of his family. Can you imagine the emotional pain that brings to someone? And actually, what he did is incredible. He forgave, right, this drunk driver, and he actually went to the prison to meet him and talk. And actually, you see it; they become friends of sorts. And he even says, you know, if it was up to me, I would release this guy. Right? How incredible is that? And I'll link that video down below because you have to see it for yourself. Like, forgiving someone, right, and our actions that we do is the best case for Christianity. Because we don't have God, we don't have Christianity. What standards are we living by, right? What morality are we living by? Because if we just follow the standards of the world, right, there would be no forgiveness. Why would you forgive someone? Instead, it's best to take revenge. And so it's such a beautiful thing what Charlie Kirk was able to do, and what many others are able to do when we're able to forgive. Right, but to bring it back to the main point of this video, and why I'm not surprised, right, we can see, honestly, how this event, it's been the biggest, this political assassination, right? It's been the biggest political assassination, and honestly, assassination in general, probably since MLK. It's on that level. And this assassination has really made Charlie Kirk a minotaur in many aspects of the word. It's what he brought forth, his teaching and what he was saying. And it's allowed many people to find their faith, and how God is using this for good. It's such an incredible thing how God works. He's always, you know the saying, right? I'm playing checkers, they're playing chess. That's exactly what's happening. God knows so much more. He knows so much. He just knows so much more, and he knows how to turn this this sobering event into something amazing. But as you go on today, let you not be surprised at this killing, right? But let you be an acknowledgement and bewilderment on how great God is, and how God has used this event for so much good. This brings so many to your faith. And I know for a fact, Kirk in heaven right now, I know he's looking down, and he is just so proud at how many have turned to the faith. And honestly, this has it's such an incredible thing what God has been able to use this terrible, evil event for. Right? The devil, even in his grandest attempts, cannot beat the goodness of God. And so I thank you guys for watching today's video. This was just I don't have a script or anything. I just had some research. I just wanted to talk a little bit about this and why I'm not surprised. And I thank you guys for watching today's video. I love y'all and have a great day.